He's not acting friendly because he sees you as just a friend. He's acting friendly because he's terrified. That's the thing nobody tells you, and that's exactly why you're confused right now. Because you've been looking at his friendly behavior as the answer, like, okay, he's just being nice, he just sees me as a friend, there's nothing there. But what if that friendliness is actually the cover? What if the nicer he acts, the more careful he is, the more he keeps things light and easy and just friendly between you two? What if all of that is actually him hiding something he hasn't figured out how to say yet? Because here's what's actually true about guys who are falling for someone for real, not just a little attracted, not just thinking you're fun to talk to, but actually genuinely falling. Those guys get more careful, not less. They pull the obvious stuff back. They stop flirting the way a guy does when he doesn't care much. And they start doing these quiet little things instead that are so easy to miss if you don't know what you're looking for. So while you've been waiting for him to do something obvious, something that makes it clear, he's been right there the whole time doing everything except the one thing you were expecting. And that's why you're still sitting here guessing. Here's the part that's going to mess with your head a little. Research on how guys actually handle real attraction shows something most women never expect. Men who are seriously falling for someone hold back on obvious flirting way more than guys who are only a little interested. Think about what that actually means. The guy who's not that into you, he can flirt easily because if it goes wrong, it doesn't hurt that much. But the guy who's actually catching real feelings, he's got so much more on the line. If he makes a move and you don't feel the same way, he doesn't just lose a shot, he risks losing you completely. So he does the only thing that makes sense to him. He keeps it tucked away under this easy, friendly surface and hopes you'll somehow give him a sign that it's safe to show you what's actually going on underneath. And because he's playing it so friendly, because nothing about his behavior looks like what you'd expect from a guy who likes you, you keep telling yourself nothing is there. But something is there. You just need to know what it actually looks like. And before we get into all 9 signs, I need to tell you about something that happens in these situations that almost no one talks about. There's this really small moment, usually just a few seconds, where he basically opens a door and waits to see if you'll walk through it. It happens right in the middle of a normal conversation. His energy shifts just slightly. He holds eye contact a little longer than usual. His voice gets a little quieter. He angles toward you. And in that moment, he's waiting to see if you'll do anything with it, if you'll hold the eye contact back, if you'll smile in a certain way, if you'll say something that cracks the door open even a little. Most women miss this window completely because they're too inside their own head trying to figure out what he's thinking to actually be present in the moment when it happens. And he reads that as you not being interested and closes back up and goes right back to being friendly and safe. I'm going to show you exactly when that window opens and what it looks like. Stay with me because this is the part that changes everything. And count how many of these 9 signs he's doing as we go. If he's hitting 4 or more, psychology on how guys show real feelings says there's a very high chance he's just waiting for you to give him something, any small sign, that tells him it's okay to go further. And if he's doing most of them, honestly, you need to pay attention right now because guys don't stay in this waiting place forever. At some point, he decides it's going nowhere and starts pulling back to protect himself. And most women only figure out he was falling for them after he's already emotionally moved on. Stay with me till around the middle of this, because I'm going to show you something he says that sounds exactly like he's putting you in the friend zone, but is actually one of the biggest signs he's falling hard. Most women hear it and give up right there. Don't be that girl. Sign number 1. He finds excuses to keep talking when the conversation should have been done. He's not texting you all day. He's not flooding your phone. But watch what happens every single time a conversation is naturally wrapping up, when you've covered everything and there's a clear stopping point. He throws something in. Oh, wait, before you go, I actually wanted to ask you something. Or he brings up some completely random topic out of nowhere just to keep things going a little longer. Or he texts back when honestly a reply wasn't even needed just to keep the thread alive. The real question to ask yourself is, does he do this pretty much every single time or just once in a while? Because if it's almost every time, that is not an accident. That is him buying more time with you because talking to you feels different to him than talking to everyone else. And somewhere in the back of his mind, he's hoping that one of these conversations is the one where something shifts between you two. Here's the detail most women completely miss with this one. When he pulls that move to keep things going, notice how fast he responds right after. If he comes back immediately like he was sitting there waiting for you to reply, that is not someone who's just being friendly. That is someone who actually wants to be talking to you specifically and was hoping you'd say something back. The speed of his replies when he's the one who extended the conversation tells you more than the words themselves do. Sign number 2, he remembers things you said that you barely even remember saying yourself. You mentioned weeks ago that you've been stressed about something going on. Out of nowhere, he asks how that thing went. You said once in passing that you love a specific kind of food. Next time you're figuring out where to go, he brings it up like it's obvious. You made some random little comment about something you'd watched. Days later, he's casually referencing it. This sounds like a small thing, but it really isn't, because your brain holds on to way more about the people you actually have real feelings for compared to everyone else. Research shows people remember significantly more detail about someone they're genuinely attracted to versus someone they're just around. So when he's remembering these tiny things you said almost as a throwaway, things you've already forgotten you even said, his brain filed them away because you matter to him more than he's letting on out loud. Here's a test you can run easily. Next time you're talking, drop something completely random and low stakes into the conversation. Something like, I've been trying to find a good place to get this one thing, or I keep meaning to check out this show. Something forgettable. Then wait a couple of weeks. If he brings it back, if he's like, did you ever find that place or did you watch that thing? His brain has been replaying your words, and that is not something people do for someone they don't care about. Sign number 3. In a group, his attention keeps finding you no matter what else is going on. You're out with other people. There's noise and conversation happening all around. And somehow, his eyes keep coming back to you. He laughs at something and immediately looks at you to check if you laugh too. Something happens in the room and his eyes go to you first before anyone else. He's telling a story to the whole group, but he's kind of really telling it to you specifically. This one is huge because it is completely involuntary. He's not choosing to do it. In a room full of people, our eyes naturally go to whoever matters most to us in that space. You can't fake that or decide to do it. So when he keeps finding you across a room, when you're not even near each other, when he's mid-conversation with someone else and his eyes still land on you, that is his brain showing you exactly where you rank without him saying a single word. Watch specifically for what happens right after something funny occurs. That split second when people react and then look somewhere. Where do his eyes go in that moment? If they go to you almost every time, that tells you everything you need to know. Sign number 4. Something about him shifts the second another guy pays you attention. Another guy comes over, talks to you, makes you laugh, gives you some attention, and suddenly his whole energy is different. He gets quieter or suddenly way more present and loud. He steps a little closer. He finds a reason to touch your arm or your shoulder. He laughs harder at what you say right after. He jumps into the conversation with something he absolutely had to say right now. You can feel that something changed in him even if you can't name exactly what it is. That is jealousy, plain and simple. And here's why this sign matters so much. Guys feel jealousy hardest before anything is even official, specifically because they're scared of losing something they don't technically have yet. A guy who genuinely just sees you as a friend does not feel that. He doesn't care who else is talking to you. But a guy who's falling for you and hasn't said it yet, that kind of attention from another guy hits completely different for him. Here's the test for this one. In a group setting, give another guy some genuine natural attention. Nothing over the top, just real. Then watch closely. Does he pull back and get weird? Does he insert himself? Does his mood shift noticeably? If yes, that is not a protective friend thing. That is a guy feeling something he hasn't put into words yet. Sign number 5. He uses the word friend, but then acts like anything but. This is the one I told you about earlier. You're honestly such a good friend to me. Most women hear that, and it is immediately over in their head. Game done. Friend zone confirmed. They pull back, feel embarrassed, decide they read the whole thing wrong, and stop showing any interest at all. And that pulling back is exactly what he was scared of. Here is what's actually happening when a guy who likes you says that. He's scared. Real fear. Because if he tells you how he actually feels and you don't feel the same way, he doesn't just feel rejected, he loses you. He loses the closeness, the conversations, the inside jokes, everything. So he uses the friend label as a way to stay safe, to keep you close without having to put himself all the way out there. He says friendship with his words while everything he does says something completely different. So how do you tell if it's real or if it's just fear talking? You look at everything else. Does he still do all the other things? Does he still find ways to keep the conversation going past when it should have ended? Does he still remember everything you say? Does he still get weird when other guys show up? If his actions are still saying one thing while his words are saying another, you believe the actions. every single time. Words are easy to control. What someone does when they're not thinking about it is not. Here's the extra piece on this one. If he calls it friendship and then gets even slightly weird when you mention going on a date with someone else, or randomly brings up your dating life out of nowhere, or asks who you've been talking to lately, that is not how friends behave. That is someone who used the word friend because he was scared, not because he meant it. Sign number 6, his body copies yours without him realizing it's happening. You lean forward, and a little while later, he leans forward too. You get more excited, and your energy goes up, and his goes up right with it. You calm down, and he settles too. You cross your arms, and he does something similar without even noticing. This is called mirroring, and it happens automatically when someone feels really pulled toward another person. Everybody does this a little with people they're comfortable around, but with you, he does it more and faster. You shift your energy and he follows within seconds without you saying or doing anything to prompt it. That is not just comfortable friendship. That is his whole system being completely tuned into you in a way that goes past just liking you as a person. Here's how to test it on purpose. Right in the middle of a conversation, switch your energy. Go from relaxed to a little more focused, or from something serious to something lighter. Do it naturally, don't make it obvious. If he follows within about 30 seconds without you doing or saying anything to lead him there, his brain is locked onto you. That kind of tuning in does not happen with people you're just friends with. Sign number 7. He makes little inside things between you two and then uses them in front of other people. A joke that makes no sense to anyone who wasn't there. A phrase that came from something you two said once. A callback to something random that only you two would get, and then he drops these things in group settings and looks right at you when he does it. He is doing that on purpose. He wants other people to see that you two have something that nobody else has access to, and he'll pull these things out when you're in the middle of talking to someone else as a way to bring your attention back to him. That is not just him being funny or playful. That is him building a little private world that only exists between the two of you and then using it to stay connected to you even when you're surrounded by other people. Sign number 8, he asks about your type like it's a casual, random question that just came up. So what kind of guys do you usually like? What actually matters to you? Like, what's your type? He keeps his voice easy and unbothered, like he's just making conversation. But he is not just making conversation, he's fishing. He wants to know if he fits what you're looking for, and watch what he does with your answer. He remembers everything you say, and then quietly, over the next few times you're together, he starts doing more of the things you described. You said you like guys who are thoughtful. Suddenly he's more thoughtful around you. You said you like someone who can make you laugh. He's funnier. He's not being fake about it. He's hoping that if he can match what you described, you'll start seeing him the way he already sees you. And if something you say clearly doesn't match him, watch his face in that exact second. Does he look a little flat? Does he get quiet for a moment? Does he try to find some way that you two overlap anyway? That is a guy taking your words personally, because to him, this is personal. Sign number 9, his feet point towards you even when the rest of him is pointed somewhere else. This is the one I promised you, and once you see it, you genuinely cannot stop seeing it everywhere. Feet are the most honest part of body language because they're the one part people forget to manage. Nobody stands there thinking about where their feet are pointing, so his face might be turned towards someone else. He might be fully in a conversation with another person across the room, but if his feet are angled in your direction, that is his subconscious telling you what his mouth hasn't said yet. That is his brain saying, this is the person I actually want to be near right now. Next time you're in a group with him, just quietly check where his feet are. And then after a few minutes, move to a different spot, see if they adjust. If they consistently point your way, no matter where you move or who he's talking to, you combine that with even 3 or 4 of the other signs, and there is no question about what's happening. He is falling for you. He is just waiting to feel safe enough to actually show it. And while we're on body stuff, notice how close he positions himself near you compared to how he is with literally everyone else in the room. We don't let people into our close personal space unless something is pulling us toward them. It's not a decision we consciously make. So if he's always finding a way to be right near you, always ending up in the seat next to you, always closing the distance between you two naturally, that is not him being friendly. That is him being drawn to you in a way he probably hasn't even fully admitted to himself yet. Okay, so now you know all 9 signs. And if he's hitting 4 or more, the real question isn't whether he likes you. The real question is, what do you actually do about it? Because this is exactly where most women get completely stuck. They see the signs, they feel them, and then they wait. They drop little hints, and hope he catches them. They wait for him to suddenly get brave and just say something already. And while they're waiting and being neutral, he's reading that neutrality as disinterest and quietly starting to protect himself by pulling back. And then one day you notice he seems a little different, a little more distant, a little less there, and by the time you notice it, it's already halfway gone. So let me walk you through what is actually happening in his head while he's doing all of these things, because understanding it changes how you respond to everything. When a guy is genuinely falling for someone, not just a little into them, but really falling, the fear that comes with that is intense in a way most people don't talk about enough, because there's still this pressure on guys to be the confident one, the one who makes the first move, the one who puts himself out there. So when he really likes you, when it actually means something real to him, he feels this weight to get it right. And the fear of messing it up, making things weird, losing you entirely, that fear is way bigger than it would be if he only kind of liked you. So he stays close, he acts friendly, he does all these small things that keep you in his life while he tries to figure out if it's safe to go any further. And what he needs from you is not some big obvious moment. He's not waiting for you to sit him down and tell him how you feel. He's just looking for small signals that it's safe. That's the whole thing. That window I mentioned right at the start where his energy shifts and he gets a little quieter and holds eye contact just a second longer than normal, that's him creating a small opening and waiting to see if you'll do anything with it. If you hold the eye contact back, if you smile a certain way, if you lean in slightly, if you say something that opens the door even just a crack, he's watching for any of that and reading it as permission to take one small step forward. And most women are so much in their own head in those moments, analyzing the conversation, wondering what he's thinking, that they miss the window entirely. He gets nothing back and decides you're not interested and closes back up and goes right back to the safe version of himself around you. Here is what you need to understand about guys in one really simple way. They need clear signals. Not dramatic, not obvious, not you making some big declaration, just clear. Something that quietly says, I see what's going on here, and I'm not closing the door on it. And the good news is you don't have to do anything big or scary to give him that. Small things are enough. So here's the actual playbook for what to do. When he finds an excuse to keep the conversation going, don't just go along with it passively. Add something that shows you want to be there too. Something like, I'm really glad you texted. I was actually thinking about you earlier. That one sentence does more than 100 hints. It tells him this isn't just convenient for you. You're choosing to be here and you're glad he reached out. When he remembers something small, you said, call it out. Wait, you actually remembered that? That's genuinely really sweet. You're letting him know his effort landed, that you noticed it and it means something to you. That makes him want to keep showing up that way. When he mirrors your energy, mirror him back on purpose sometimes. If he leans in, you lean in. If he touches your arm in conversation, find a natural moment later to touch his arm or shoulder back. Mirroring works both ways, and when you send it back to him, it builds this unspoken rhythm between you that creates real tension, the kind that leads somewhere good. Now the friend phrase, because this one trips women up more than almost anything else. When he says you're such a good friend, here's exactly how to handle it. First, don't let it show on your face. Don't look hurt or surprised or like something just deflated. Just smile and say something easy like, yeah, same, I really like talking to you. Light and warm, nothing heavy. Then watch what he does over the next few days. If nothing changes in how he acts, if he's still doing all the other things, you know, the friend word was a shield and not a verdict. Give it a little time, maybe a week, and then create a one-on-one situation. Ask him to do something just the two of you. Coffee, a walk, trying somewhere new he mentioned, something that has enough room to go either way. And when you're there, be fully present. Phone away, laugh more, hold eye contact a beat longer than you normally would, touch his arm naturally when something funny happens. You're giving him permission to see this differently without either of you having to say the words out loud. If the friend thing was real and he genuinely meant it, he'll stay firm. He might even bring up someone else he's interested in. But if it was fear, he will light up. You will feel it shift and there won't be any question. With the jealousy sign, don't use it to play games or make him feel bad on purpose. That always backfires and it makes you look like someone who plays games, which is not who you are, but do recognize it for what it actually is. It is a huge flashing sign that says he wants to be the one you're focused on. When you notice him shifting around other guys, pull your attention back to him naturally. Ask him something. Bring him into whatever's happening. Let him feel without you saying it that he doesn't need to compete for your attention. He's already got it. Keep building the inside jokes and the callbacks and the little things that are just yours. Every single one is another small thread tying you two together. Use them to create moments that feel private and special, moments that remind him you two have something other people don't have access to. That feeling, that little private world, is exactly where real feelings grow into something you can actually do something with. When he asks about your type, be smart about your answer. Don't describe some completely different person who has nothing to do with him. But don't make it so obvious that it feels forced either. Just describe things he actually has, in a general, easy way. I like guys who actually pay attention, who remember stuff, who can make me laugh without trying too hard. He'll connect the dots himself, and if he fits what you said, he'll feel like you just told him something really important without even realizing it, which is exactly what happened. Here's the thing that most dating advice completely skips over. None of this works if you're just running through steps like a checklist you found somewhere. He will feel that it's mechanical and it will push him away faster than anything. The whole point of everything here is not to trick him into feeling something. It's to create enough space and clarity that neither of you wastes more time going in circles wondering. If he's showing these signs and you actually like him too, you owe it to both of you to stop being neutral and start letting him see something real coming back from your direction. And if you do all of this, if you give him real clear open doors and he still doesn't step up, still doesn't move at all, then you have your answer. And that answer, even if it's not the one you wanted, is so much better than spending another 6 months wondering and analyzing every text and every look. You get to stop wondering, you get to move forward, and that is actually a gift even when it doesn't feel like one. One last thing before your action plan, and this one really matters. Timing is everything with this stuff. When a guy first starts developing real feelings, there is a window where he is most open, where the feelings are fresh and the hope is still alive. If nothing happens during that window, if he keeps getting signals that read as neutral or like you're not interested, those feelings don't disappear overnight, but they start fading. He starts protecting himself more and more. He mentally starts moving you into the category of it's probably not going anywhere, even if he never says that out loud to anyone, including himself. This is why women sometimes look back and think he was so into me. What happened? Why did he just disappear on me? What happened is the window closed. He waited and decided it wasn't going anywhere and started moving on while you were still trying to figure out if it was real. So if he's hitting 4, 5, 6 or more of these signs, don't wait months to do anything. Don't overthink it into paralysis. Make small moves now. Give him a door to walk through. Because a woman who knows what she wants and isn't scared to let someone see that in a real natural way is genuinely one of the most attractive things in the world to a guy who's serious about someone. You are not chasing him by being clear. You are just being honest. And honest feels completely different from desperate to a guy who actually has feelings for you.